hard on China to try to tear down those barriers. I think opening up that market to more goods and services, I think that would be a very positive development.
Yeah, I mean,
at the same time.
Go ahead, sir. Well, there are reports that the CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, is going to serve as chairman of the board of its Chinese economics school for the next 3 years. He's reportedly been on the board in the past. So has Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg. So, you know, companies are trying to do what they can do to stay in good stead with the Chinese leadership. Well,
they are. And look, if Tim Cook does business in China, I think that's fine. That can be good for America. But he needs to make sure that Apple that doesn't obey the whims of the Chinese dictatorship. I was very disappointed when Apple pulled down from their app the Taiwanese flag. So in Hong Kong, suddenly you couldn't find the Taiwanese flag. They pulled it down because their Chinese masters demanded it. They also pulled down an app that the Hong Kong protesters were using to come together and organize, and they pulled it down again, presumably at the behest of the Chinese government. It's one thing to do business with them, but if American companies are willing to be participants in the suppression of human rights and the suppression of free speech, that is a much more troubling line to cross.
So you want to see congressional action here in terms of the Hong Kong protesters. What do you want to see out of Congress in terms of this Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act?
Well, I'm a co-sponsor of the Human Rights and Democracy Act. Just a few weeks ago, the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, on which I serve, we unanimously passed the bill. It was a bipartisan bill. Every Democrat, every Republican came together and passed it. I hope that the Senate takes up soon, ideally this week, the Human Rights and Democracy Act, that we pass it, and we pass it into law, because it's powerful to stand with the protesters in Hong Kong and to say the American people support you, support freedom. You know, when I was in Hong Kong, I got a chance to sit down with a number of the protest leaders and democracy activists and encourage them and say, look, the eyes of the world are on you. And one of the things I encouraged them also, I said, follow the pattern of Gandhi, of Dr. Martin Luther King. Follow the pattern of nonviolence. The Chinese government wants to turn these into violent clashes because that's how they delegitimize you. And so use the power of the values you're fighting for to command the attention of the world. And I hope that's the path they continue to go down.
I mean, the bullying is just disgusting. Senator, real quick before you go,